Okay, so first off, thanks to those who have watched and commented on my Divorce in the Black review. It's been up for barely a day and it's already knocking on the door of 10,000 views, which is pretty good. I mean, because, typically when I do these Tyler Perry movie reviews, it's kind of one and dones for me. But after reading through the comment section, I did see one particular comment that stood out because if you watch my review, I did talk about the opening scene, and let's be real here. I think that even if you have not seen the movie yet, you have seen online the reaction from like the first 5 or so minutes that takes place in the church during a funeral. That I feel like that's the main thing people take away from this film. It's the fact that Dallas's brother's corpse is removed from the coffin and they put him on the back of their truck, drive off, and bury him on their property. But the thing I didn't mention in the review I posted was about, if I'm not mistaken, Clarence, Ava's father, Clarence, who was the pastor in this film. And the question is, was he out of pocket for the way he, went at Dallas's family during the eulogy? I don't think a lot of people have talked about that. Obviously, the shock factor was, okay, Tyler, come on, you really setting the bar high with the, just doing too much. From the mom removing her clothing, most of her clothing, tossing back towards Abram's mom, like, we don't need these handouts, and then taking the corpse, but going back to the actual eulogy. Now, on my review, Shay Marie 7045 left this comment: are we not going to address the elephant in the room, the pastor? He was wrong calling out the dead guy's family. The town is small and everybody in that town knew who and what they were. The church paid for the funeral and knew they were sending off a scoundrel. Just be glad he's gone. But to list the shortcomings of that family that way was wrong. The pastor is in the position to uplift the congregation. He took his sermon to a dangerous direction. That was not a good look for him. He should have known better. By doing this, he put his family in a dangerous position. That sermon was a bad choice, if you want to call that a sermon. Somebody commented, you're not wrong. Give the eulogy, try to comfort the family, keep it moving. I agree. Now, don't get me wrong. When I first saw the scene, read comments like this and thought about it, I'm like, I could see both sides of it. But the thing is, I believe Clarence told his daughter that, yeah, don't worry, I'll say some nice things about the boy, even though, he died while trying to rob one of the elderly members of this very church. I think he told his daughter that. Here's what I'm thinking, because from what we learned, Ava was the one who set this whole thing up. She set the whole thing up. Ava is trying to be like the liaison, kind of like the person bridging the gap between Dallas's family, the Bertrams, I believe, the Bertrams, and the community in general, or more specifically, her father, who is the pastor of the church. I would not be surprised if the church didn't want to have anything to do with this funeral. But then again, if you look at the Bertram family, I wholeheartedly doubt they wanted anything from the church to begin with. Ava was the one that was able to convince the church and everybody to kind of pull their funds together to hold the ceremony, get the coffin and whatnot, and possibly even a grave site on the church property, the church cemetery, because based off of the family's reaction, they had no intention of this. I mean, hence why Dallas is like, there's nothing wrong with burying him on our property with the rest of all our other family members. So I think Ava was the one who convinced her dad to, of course, perform the ceremony, give the eulogy. And I guess, after some, Daddy, please, could you just please do this? But honey, he died trying to rob one of our church members. I mean, for all we know, it could have been the church mother, like the oldest woman in the church. But I guess to appease his daughter, he agreed to do it. It's like, well, look, you're not going to say anything too bad, right? You're just going to do a normal eulogy like any other person and go from there. It's like, yeah, I'll say some nice things. And I feel like Ava from there did a lot of convincing to Dallas, even his mom, because remember, the mom, she was against this from the get-go, but I don't know, Ava must have done the same thing to Dallas's family, just begging, please, like, just please let us do this for you. And well, what about your father? Is he gonna get up there and preach and judge and everything like that? No, he's going to say some nice things about your son, I promise. So I feel like during the actual sermon, at first things were going well, but then he read those verses, and then when he kind of, I believe it was from the book of Luke, once he dove deep into what those verses truly meant in terms of, hey, don't follow down the path that I did, in order, so that way you wouldn't have to suffer, eternal life in hell and damnation and whatnot for your soul. So it felt like an attack on the Bertram family. In reality, what he said was true, but in terms of the ceremony, it felt like you kind of went back on what you told your daughter. Now, like he said, he wouldn't be doing his job by trying to avoid, stepping on, or, walking on eggshells, by avoiding the situation of, here's how your son died. It's a small town. Everybody knows it. Your boy's always causing trouble. You see how your oldest son died. Let's not have your other sons deal with the same sort of fate. I do feel like it did turn into a personal attack. I rewatched the scene. Matter of fact, while I'm recording this video, my sister and nephew are watching the film. And they love it. They love it. They love Corey's acting, the finger pointing, and my sister, Lord have mercy, she can imitate the mom so perfectly. It's not even funny. It really is not funny. I'm just like, Lord, she got to stay over at my house tonight. Shoot, I'm scared. But no, I do feel like Clarence was kind of out of pocket. Like Shay Marie's post said, it's like, hey, you know what? It's a small town. They know what these people are about. They ought to be kind of happy that one of them is gone and go from there. But yeah, I feel like Clarence, it's just the fact that the Bertram family, even coming to the church for the ceremony alone, means, they're skating on thin ice. It's like one little thing will set them off. But the fact that they came based on Ava's word that everything would go smooth, no drama, I feel like Clarence overstepped that line. And don't get me wrong, the mama definitely crossed several lines, from removing her clothing, cursing in the house of the Lord, taking the body out. But hey, Clarence kind of started it. That's all I'm saying. So when I look at this scene, it's like, hey, the body being removed is crazy, but let's talk about how we got to that point. How we got to that point. It really does make you wonder, wow, what that wedding between Dallas and Ava was like back when they got together. That would have been wild. But yeah, with that being said, how do you feel about Clarence's eulogy? Do you think that he should have done a standard eulogy and left it at that? Do you think he was right for calling out the Bertram family? But I think it's even worse because, you had the whole congregation backing him up too. So it's like, we came to this place because we were told you would give our boy a decent send-off. But then you turned it into judgment and whatnot. But then again, it's like, it's a small town, so there are probably plenty of victims of the Bertram family sitting up there at the actual ceremony, people that could have been, bullied while they were in school. Because if I remember correctly, they said all of the boys went to elementary school and dropped out by the 5th grade, except for Dallas. He was the only one that went all the way through school and, got his degree and whatnot. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, people could have been bullied throughout the years. Like they say, they robbed the older people and, assaulting, women and whatnot. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where should have just done the basic eulogy, got the ceremony over with, and went from there. So, That's all I got to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Clarence's eulogy. And I wanted to use clips, but again, this is a Prime Video movie, and I didn't want to risk any sort of copyright. So maybe I'll have multiple pictures or just the one. Who knows? But thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.